day. What's up? I'm DJ. I'm a pastoral intern here at New City West End. Been a pastoral intern for about a year now. I'm currently a student at Covenant Seminary, almost done with my degree. And I'm a husband to a beautiful wife, Ebony, and I'm a father to two amazing children, DJ and artists, who you might hear in the background throughout this video. I actually grew up in a house that was very familiar with the faith. Just necessarily, we didn't have the traditional practices like going to church on Sundays, but my folks always referred to God, always referred to the element of having to depend on Him, getting in prayer, spending time with Him. And also, man, I just remember growing up every Sunday, almost every Sunday, my dad would wake us up and say, let's go drop off Papa, our grandfather, to church. And I always knew that we might most likely was gonna stop at Hardee's and get the big breakfast. So we'd go get some pancakes and eggs. So I always went. But I remember those moments just watching my grandfather with his hat, whole suit, suited and booted, walking to the church. And it was a church that we attended maybe a couple times, maybe during Easter. But as I grew up, I already had a sense of who God was. I already had I didn't have a true understanding, but I already knew about the biblical story, the gospel. I knew about Jesus. Just never necessarily consider myself a believer. So throughout college, I wasn't a believer. But after I ended up leaving school and being done with school and playing ball, I came back to St. Louis. I already had a relationship that was already solidified with a good friend who still is a good friend to today. He's a pastor. But he was one of the first people that really poured into me, really never showed me any judgment. He never judged me. He just kept it, to be honest, he always kept it 100 with me. He always treated me no differently when he heard about my story. When I shared with him the things in which I was dealing with, the things in which I've done, he always treated me with love. And man, I thought that was the biggest thing ever. And that was probably one of my greatest memories about truly, experiencing that love that's talked about in the gospel that we're called as Christians to show. So in that relationship, I started to attend that church irregularly. Was not a consistent goer. Straight up, I didn't even go on Sunday service. I just tended to go to Bible studies, because the Bible studies you can hear it was just this dynamic that they taught, but also you can raise your hand and ask questions. So you heard people's perspectives, and the more I went, the more I started to think about my understanding of the gospel. I just remember, man, it was in 2014, man, July 5th, and the night before, I was just kicking it, having a good time, man. I mean, me and my boy, we were down, man, at a bar, just, man, 4th of July celebrating. And I remember waking up that next morning, and it was just this feeling of freedom. Everything just fell off. Everything that I had a desire for, the things in which I tried to find my worth within, I just didn't have the urge to tap into those things anymore. Like, it was just, I can't really explain it. Like, it was straight up, man, a different feeling. Like, just felt new. Man, I still remember that to this day, man, because I was laying on my folks' couch after that night, man, and it was just real. And I remember calling my wife, who we were dating then. I was just like, I don't know what's up. I just feel different. And from that time on, I started to become more committed to the church. And now I'm here. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Christ. Like, it was just somebody that kept it 100 and showed me some love that, man, I needed at the time. But my faith has grown, man, astronomically. But also just my growth. It's just, man, I've just become, man, it feels like you become a new person every day, man. Because here in New City, I've been challenged in ways that I've never been challenged in my faith ever. I've encountered people who don't necessarily agree with me. I've encountered people who think differently about how we engage justice. But also in that, I've learned and my heart has grown to know how to still love people in the midst of that. So in New City, West End, necessarily with this diversity has challenged me as a believer, to challenge me and in a way to say, are you going to live up and you're going to live out what we are called as Christians to live out, which is to love and love sacrificially, but love unconditionally. And you know, here, man, I've just learned how to start from Genesis 1:27 rather than starting from the fall itself in Genesis 3. In 1:27 or 1:26, where God said, let's make man in our image and likeness. Man, just starting from that point and really finding your dignity and seeing that your humanity is affirmed and remembering this truth when I encounter people who think differently than I do. But starting from that point and realizing that the state of this world, being a fallen world, has corrupted that image. But realizing you must still start from that image, that they were made in the image and likeness of God. And actually, that's where it helps me to have a conversation, to even be open to a conversation or open to a relationship with somebody who actually, in many ways, I can feel like, man, is a part of my oppression. But all I realize is they are affected by the state of this world just as I am. But starting from that point, man, it just brings a common ground. And it reminds you of that commonality rather than starting from 3 where it's about to fall. Dog, you are made in the image of God just like I am. And I'm going to start there. Man, that's why I think it's been big for me to start from Genesis 1:27 rather than Genesis 3 where the fall starts. So New City has been a big help with that. And I mean, everybody, but New City in particular, man, has given me 3 brothers, man, in Thurman, Pastor Thurman, Pastor Steve, and Pastor David. Man, these 3 brothers, man, have poured into me, man. I never would have thought I would have had this type of circle with a black brother, a white brother, and my Latino Argentine brother in one circle, man. But these guys, man, they have heard my struggles. They have heard my doubts. They have heard even times I was just thinking about even giving up on this. But that's what New City gave me. And that's how it has challenged me, but also it has sustained and upheld me through these challenging times in my faith. So, man, I've grown not just as a Christian, not just as a future pastor or preacher, but I've grown as a man and as a father and especially as a husband. Because these guys, man, have just poured into me, man, with their transparency and their vulnerability. And that's what I experienced here at New City. And I pray that as me and my family are still here, that we continue to experience this place of vulnerability, this place of transparency, but this place of truth. So I thank you, New City, because it's been real and I've enjoyed every bit of it, even the most challenging moments. Something about me that I rarely speak on or people wouldn't know necessarily. I think I brought it up actually in the last sermon that I taught, man. I'm a roller, man. I'm a 3rd generation roller. Started with my grandpa, man, up in Chicago, man. Markham skating rink. And then it was passed on to my mom. And then my mom passed it along to me. I've been rolling, man, since I was like 8 or 9. My skates now are picking up dust, man, but man, rolling is a big part of who I am and a big part of my culture, but a big part of my relationship with my moms. That's how we connect, and that's how we have grown. Our relationship has developed over the years through skating. Man, and then my wife joined in. So those are things that's unique that I think I rarely talk about. But mainly I probably don't talk about it is because we in a pandemic. And if I can't get to the rink, our wheels are picking up dust, man. Only thing I've been able to do is skate around the parking lot. But man, that's something that people probably don't know about me. God bless you all. Love y'all.